All right, everybody, welcome to the call tonight. This is the expert in the house. My name is Bart Kotter. My wife and I are grateful to be ASEA Triple Diamonds. We've been involved with ASEA for about 5.5 years now. It's an amazing company, an amazing technology, and we're going to be sharing that with you tonight. So what we're going to be talking about is what's being hailed is the most significant health breakthrough of our lifetimes. Anti-aging, sports performance. This technology truly makes a huge difference in the lives of other people. I know that's a very big, bold statement, but this is the people in the white coats, the experts that I'm talking about that are making these kind of statements. So we'll be going through that. Now, if you're a guest on this call, we've found that there's probably 6 different reasons why you might be joining us. And I just want to point those out because you might even discover that there might be another reason that you hadn't even thought of. And the other reason I want to point this out is because I can assure you that as we go through this presentation tonight, you're going to think of names of people that need to know about this technology. So as you have names pop in your head, I'd like you to write them down. You might want to grab a notepad, pen, and take some notes as we go along here as well. And certainly if you have some questions, we could open it up for questions, or you could get back with who invited you. The first reason that perhaps you're here is maybe you're looking for some solutions to improve your own personal health. Maybe you're dealing with a health challenge, a health crisis, and you're looking for some answers. The other thing is that we all know people who are hurting, people that we care about, people that we love. And my question is, if you knew someone who you cared about, someone that you loved, and if they were dealing with a challenge that you thought you had something that might very likely help them, would you tell them about it? I hope the answer is yes, of course. Sometimes it can take a little courage to step out and to share something with people. But look, there are people who are literally praying for answers for the technology that we have because of the life-changing benefits. The other one is hey, look and feel younger. We all want to fight the effects of aging. We all want to feel younger and feel healthier, particularly as we age. We're going to show you some before and after pictures and show you how this technology can literally turn back the hands of time. Now, the next one is athletic performance. We've got athletes that are having remarkable, absolutely incredible results. People athletes that thought they were going to have to give up their profession. They're going to have to quit competing because they just couldn't recover quick enough. Some of these athletes are setting new personal best records that they had 20 years ago. They're winning gold medals in the Olympics as well. Lots of phenomenal benefits. And actually, just to go back to the athletic performance, I want you to think of this too. Even if you're not an athlete, but you have an active lifestyle, or you'd like to have an active lifestyle, I believe that we all want to get the most out of our day. So that's something very important to think about in terms of being proactive with your health from an athletic standpoint, but also, which is number 5 here, as actually a proactive approach to health. Now, I've been in the health profession and dealing with health products for about 26 years. And I remember years ago, a doctor said, "May you never know what you're preventing." The cost, when I hear people say, "Oh, I can't afford these products," you can't afford not to be on these products because there's absolutely nothing that you can do for your health at a higher level. And the cost of dealing with those health challenges or crises after the fact are so much more than the cost of basically addressing your health to begin with. And so when I'm talking about cost, I'm not just talking about the monetary cost. I'm talking about the quality of life. We all know people who have had a stroke or a heart attack or an aneurysm. Their life has been turned upside down virtually overnight. So wouldn't it make sense to really take a look at that and to be proactive? The next one is time and money freedom. Look, as anybody on this call, I'd like you to think about this question. Do you have room in your bank account for more? If you do, you're very much like my wife and I were. We actually, we were looking for something, kind of praying for something, really. We'd been successful in another business. That business had kind of changed, lost their way, and I needed something that could really help us to create some financial freedom and some financial dignity in our lives as well. So time and money freedom, because this technology is so profound, the company has chosen a business model that makes it so that you can benefit from simply telling other people about this and creating a network. And we'll go into that in more detail. So I guess my next question is, what's your reason? Is it, maybe it's all six of them. For me, for me, all six of them are important. But you know, what's your number one reason? What's your second highest priority? Anyway, the 5 and 6 were our two top priorities. Now, everybody has their story and their experiences, their life that's got them to wherever you're at right now. And particularly, a lot of people are dealing with a real wrench that has gotten thrown in the spokes of their story, you might want to say. But you know, every crisis also can create opportunities. I just would like to briefly share with you where I was at where we were at when we first got started with this company. And as I go through this, I want you to just measure or think in terms of, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in each one of these areas? So for example, if you were to draw a line in terms of being happy with your career, where would that be? Is it a 4, 5, 6? Maybe you're totally happy with your career. It's a 10. Who knows? But I'd like you to just do an evaluation as we go through this. Now, as I briefly mentioned before, when I'd been involved and quite successful with a previous company, but that company had lost its way. The ownership changed, the compensation plan changed, and my heart just wasn't in it anymore. Even though there was still a very good income coming in from that particular business, I just didn't feel comfortable sharing it with other people, even though the product was still good. So I was in a place where I was pretty frustrated. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was probably sitting at about a 4. And I was looking for something else. I needed something else. I needed another home. So financially, you know, for most people's standards, it was still a pretty good income, but the income was going down, and you know, there was just seemed to be more month than there was money. I don't know if anybody else can relate to that. I've discovered there's two kinds of pain. There's physical pain, and then there's financial pain. And if you've experienced financial pain, it's painful. So I know that sounds pretty stupid, but it really is. It causes an immense amount of stress on your life. So those things. The other thing that was going on when we heard about ASEA, and this is 5.5 years ago, I was still going through a very challenging legal crisis that had just been going on and on and on. It was tapping our resources. It was tapping us out mentally. Personal growth was just not really high there because there was just so many things on your mind. Sometimes it's hard to really think positively. Health wasn't bad, but stress kind of brings on some problems. Family life, had a couple teenagers in the house at the time. So if any of you have teenage kids, you know that can create some stress, as well as the other challenges that obviously put stress. But thank God I married this amazing lady. And so we scored pretty high on relationship. You know, one thing I've discovered when life is really, you know, not going the way you want it to, or when you're just dealing with the things that I was dealing with, I didn't really want to talk with anyone else because it seemed like the only thing to talk about was the crap or the negativity. So that's probably where I was at on social life, and consequently attitude certainly could have been better too. The whole point of this is two things really. Number one, if this was a wheel and you were going to roll it down the road, it would be a pretty bumpy ride. So obviously my life was completely and totally out of balance, not real happy in most regards. And of course, the other reason is for you to do a personal evaluation and say, hey, where could I use more in my life? More balance, more happiness, more success, because it really is about growing. We're either going forward, growing, or we're going backward. So I put this picture in here because I wanted to just briefly share with you that 5.5 years ago, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this story, I was invited to fly to Salt Lake City and meet the founders of this company. This gentleman right here that I've got my cursor over, his name is Bart Norton. And it was such an amazing experience. I went kind of skeptical, a little bit reluctant at the time, but I'm actually from Utah. This was in Utah. I hadn't been back for about let's see, how long? Yeah, hadn't been back to Utah for about 4 years at that point in time. And I thought, hey, they actually offered to fly me back to Utah because of my past success with the previous company. I met the executive team, and I'll tell you, there's just a few people in your life that you meet, you shake their hand, and you just know that they are absolutely good to the soul. And that would be Bart Norton, the founder of this company. I just knew that his integrity and his business savvy was second to none. And this was a man that I really respected, admired, and wanted to be in business with. The other person that I met with is this gentleman here, Dr. Gary Samuelson. He's the atomic medical physicist. He's responsible for accomplishing what science literally declared was impossible. For 2 decades, they had said it was impossible to do what he did, which was to stabilize these molecules we're going to talk about. This is Ed Weens. This is the gentleman who's our sponsor. And some of these other folks are people that I've known for many, many years that from a previous company that had found a new home in this company and I'm just ecstatic. So when I talked about some of the stress or challenges, these people had found a new home, were pretty excited about it. And so we took a little picture here with that. And this is a couple of remarkable gentlemen that I invited later to come over and investigate this too. So I just want to tell you that this has been an absolute incredible journey. I'll tell you a little bit more about Bart Norton and the story of ASEA as we move forward here, but it truly has been an amazing experience. So as we move forward here, I'd like to just share with you that ASEA's products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or medical condition. What these products do is they empower the body to do what it's meant to do best, which is to help heal itself. And so personally, I think that that's what God gave us, was this amazing body, which is designed to heal itself properly. So these products, these molecules that we're going to discuss, are actually native to the body. They're the way our body actually communicates cell to cell and heals. So we're simply empowering the body to do what it's meant to do. Now, I would like to set the stage by just sharing with you kind of a reality check, if you will. Let's just take a look at where our health is at. In Australia, it doesn't matter what country, this could be very similar figures in the US or Malaysia or the Philippines. Basically, the #1 cause of disease is heart disease. So we can see a damaged heart, a healthy heart. The second one would be Alzheimer or dementia. This is a huge problem. I know that a lot of the experts are saying, hey, as our population increases in age, what are we going to do with all these people as they get older? It's a serious problem that they're trying to look at how to handle this crisis. The other one is stroke. And that can be a real challenge, particularly if it doesn't take you and it leaves you in a debilitated situation as well. So let's just take a look at our health in general, and let's see how we can address this. So the most important thing is to realize that we live and we die at the cellular level. So all disease starts at the cellular level. And our body is comprised of about 75 trillion cells. Those cells create tissues, those tissues create organs, which create our systems of our body, and that, of course, creates you. Now, when our cells are healthy, then we're healthy. It's pretty much as simple as that. So it really is important that we look at this foundational level, like what is going on here? How do we help our cells to become healthy at the highest level? Now, let's take a look at this. This is an unhealthy cell. And if you look at this, it's kind of, it's not a very pretty shape. Also, the outside of this is kind of rigid, the cell membrane. What that means is that nutrients can't get into the cell, and consequently, the waste products can't get out. So you've got this toxic environment here. Now, a healthy cell, quite different. It's nice and round. In fact, if you look at blood cells underneath a microscope, they'll move around and they'll be round and they won't be odd-shaped. And you can really see the difference of a healthy cell versus unhealthy cell, particularly when you're doing live blood cell analysis. But cells are damaged by oxidative stress. This is toxins and inflammation. Also viruses, infections, bacteria, and free radicals. So, so all those kind of things can affect the cell. So let's take a look at, this is just an example of oxidative stress, for example. This is using the comparison of an apple that is rotting versus a cell and what that looks like. So normal, attacked by free radicals, and then a cell with oxidative stress. So oxidative stress at the cellular level represents the body's inability to readily detoxify or repair cellular damage from toxins and inflammation. So this is kind of amazing. This was a study done in the United States, And they tested a blood sample from the umbilical cords, and they found on average there are 287 chemicals found in the umbilical cord of a brand new baby, which is pretty shocking, pretty amazing. And it's interesting here, the skincare industry is absolutely massive. It's a huge, in fact, it's 10 times larger than the vitamin industry. Something you may not have been aware of is that the average consumer is exposed to 127 chemicals a day simply from body care products. And then if we look at our food, there are over 10,000 chemicals used in our food processing industry, and most of them haven't even been tested. So not to mention that the fact is that our air is polluted, our soils are depleted. All this stuff leads to serious problems, and some of those problems include turning off our genes. So I had no idea until a few years ago that our genes, the genes in our body, are subject to being turned on and turned off. So pretty important. We're going to talk about that a little bit further in a minute as we go on. The other thing, interesting photo here. Obesity is becoming a bigger and bigger problem all the time. And too many people are digging their graves with forks by making food choices based on instant gratification and food addictions. So I've seen lots of funny posts about on Facebook and so forth as people are social distancing and staying at home, that they're that they're growing around the midriff and making choices like this because they just don't have maybe some of the choices that are struck by boredom. But our gut is such an important part of our health. And in fact, they actually say our gut is like our second brain. So our digestive health is very, very important. So the number one challenge that we just went through is our environment. Okay, these are the things that can affect our cells. They affect our genes. So that's a pretty important aspect. Now, the second challenge is what we're going to talk about next is redox signaling molecules. Now, those are the molecules that are responsible for cell-to-cell communication. We're going to talk about those in a second. But the thing I want to let you know is as we age, we produce fewer and fewer of these redox signaling molecules. And hence, this starts around puberty. And every decade, we lose the ability to produce about 10% of those. So I'm 56, and so I'd be producing maybe around 50% of what I used to produce. Someone who's 70 or 80, maybe just 10, 20%. So the fact is that we just don't heal as quickly as we used to when you were a teenager and so forth. So what if we could show, what if we could show these ladies here as they're getting older, how they could heal like they were kids again? That'd be a pretty powerful thing to be able to do. So that's essentially what we do. We've got the fountain of youth, the Holy Grail, and that's pretty exciting. So I've already mentioned that our bodies diminish the ability to produce those. So let's get down to the basis of what we're actually talking about here, and that's redox signaling molecules. Look, if you haven't heard about redox signaling molecules, you are among the vast majority of people who have no idea what this actually is. Yet, this is one of the fastest growing areas of science in the world right now. There are literally hundreds of thousands of studies that have been done on this very subject. So here's what it is. Already mentioned that you've got 75 trillion cells in your body, and every one of those cells has anywhere from about 10 to 7,000 mitochondria. Now, the mitochondria, if you're not familiar with that, it's simply, think of it as the nuclear power plant of the cell. It creates energy. That energy, it's also called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. So every time you think a thought, every time that you blink your eyes, every time that you do anything, cough, sneeze, that's all energy that's created from the cell, from the mitochondria in the cell. Now, as the cells create that energy, they kick off these little molecules called redox signaling molecules. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. 75,000 or 75 trillion cells. So we just take one tiny little cell. Now we're going to look inside that cell and realize that there could be thousands of these mitochondria. So we're going to take out and look at just a single mitochondria, and then to realize that as it's producing that energy, it's kicking off these little teeny tiny molecules that last generally about 1/1,000,000 of a second. about a millisecond. Can you see how amazing it is that they even discovered them in the first place? Now, when they first discovered these molecules, they thought that they were nothing but a waste product of the cell creating energy, like, let's say, exhaust fumes coming off of your car. What they've discovered is, in fact, the people who discovered these were three gentlemen that won a Nobel Prize in I believe it was 1998. And they discovered that these molecules are responsible for cell-to-cell communication. They literally detect, protect, repair, and replace damaged cells. They also are antioxidant activators. We've all heard of antioxidants. Do you realize that without redox signaling molecules, antioxidants are completely worthless? They're like it's like a light bulb without electricity. So they literally turn on, they activate the antioxidants. They are also immune system communicators. So they attack things like viruses and bacteria, really important stuff. And they also, we talked about genes a little earlier, they literally turn on genes. They turn on our genetic expression. So it's really important to have a plentiful supply of these redox signaling molecules. And again, this just shows our system here, our body system. So these signals, these redox signaling molecules are pretty important. So the other thing is that this technology, literally for 2 decades, science declared it was impossible to recreate these molecules because they're so fleeting. This is a technology they say is 10 to 15 years ahead of its time. And ASEA has a virtual monopoly on this technology. No one else has this. They've got multiple, literally dozens of patents on the technology, and they're literally the global leader in cellular health. So the next question is, how in the world does ASEA create these molecules? Well, first of all, I want you to just realize that our body is mostly made up of what? Water. It's mostly made up of salt water. So in every cell of our body, if you think of it as like a little bag of salt water, these molecules are created in that saltwater substance in our body naturally. Well, ASEA uses the exact same 2 ingredients, which is salt and water, same as what's found in our cells. And this goes through a three-day patented process where the salt water is broken down into free-floating atoms of sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen. And then some magic happens as they take this through this electrical process where the atoms are restructured into trillions and trillions and trillions of these stabilized redox signaling molecules. Dr. Samuelson said, he's an atomic medical physicist, by the way. There's about a handful of people at his level and knowledge level in the world. He said, this technology has the potential to spearhead the greatest advances in health we have ever seen. Pretty profound comment. He should get a Nobel Prize for what he's done. This is the product right here. It's the liquid or the beverage that we have. This is cellular health from the inside out. Now, one of the questions that I had was, how do we know that this is not just expensive salt water? Well, pretty easily, this laboratory, Bioagiletics, they actually certify, they verify, they validate every batch of ASEA is in fact redox certified. So they've got the equipment, they test it, they make sure that in fact it's got all the molecules and so forth in it. Now, interesting thing happened. People were taking this liquid, they were putting it in spray bottles, and people, and we still do, spraying it in your eyes, spraying it in your ears, your nose. You can spray it on your skin for sunburns or rash or all sorts of things. Well, they knew that they had an application for a skincare product, and they literally spent 5 years trying to figure out how to put these molecules into a gel for the skin. And what happened was a set of pretty amazing coincidences happened to find the right people that could do that, and Renew 28 was developed. So this is a product for the skin, and this is cellular health from the outside in. This has since been developed into a full skincare line with a serum, a moisturizer, and also a cleanser. So totally unisex. It's great, just as great for the guys as it is for the women. It's completely safe, non-toxic, and it's native to the body. Remember we talked about the chemicals in our skincare products and earlier on? Well, this product has none of the bad stuff, and it's just got all the good stuff. So pretty important. And ASEA has funded millions of dollars in research. Here are some of the different laboratories. I already mentioned Bioagiletics, Stevens Associates, and Dermatest. I'll show you some of the studies they've done, and we'll talk about Turret Laboratories. Did a gene study, very remarkable. North Carolina Research Campus has done some athletic studies, which are phenomenal. And you can see all these studies and all this information at ASEAScience.com. There are tens of thousands, in fact, hundreds of thousands of studies that have been done on redox signaling. And the best way to do that is to go, let's see, and I'll share with you in just a second where you can go to look at some of the different studies that have been done on it. But there are literally over 1,200 books that have been written and published on redox signaling. This particular book was written by Dr. Nareen Naidu. He was actually nominated for Nobel Prize for some other work that he's done. Real smart guy. Now, here's the thing. I already mentioned you want to go to ASEAScience.com. Don't go to Google. Google is, let me explain, Google is not a research engine. It's a search engine. There's a complete different thing. If you type in, is Google a scam? I don't remember, you'll have hundreds of thousands, probably millions of hits that come up and say, Google itself is a scam. Or if you type in anything that, chiropractic or acupuncture, or things that so many people look at as alternatives, you'll see thousands and thousands of hits saying virtually anything is a scam out there. So Google's a little bit like the bathroom wall. Anybody can post anything. This is not the place to do research. There's a couple people that have agendas that publish some stuff which is completely and totally inaccurate. The best thing you can do is to go to pubmed.gov or let's see, that's a good one, or scholar.google.com and type in redox signaling and then whatever the challenge is that you'd be interested in. Let me go through this. This is a gene study that was done by Turret Laboratories. It was an 8-week trial. It was average group, about 35 years old. And this is phenomenal. I mean, if you could just turn on the genetic expression in your body, just even a few percent, that would be a big deal. But they found out that in every one of these 5 major areas, it turned on the genetic expression anywhere from 20 to 31%. So we're talking about cardiovascular health. We're talking about your gut health, hormone balance, moods, weight challenges also can be helped with that. Reduces the oxidative stress. So this is inflammation pathways and also your immune system. So big stuff. Again, ASEAScience.com is where you can find a lot of the studies. Now, I love this because seeing truly is believing. And this is actually showing before and after photos. So I want you to just think, if this is what's happening with the Renew 28, which is what this product is that we're going to go through, what's happening as you're drinking these molecules on the inside? You can't take a picture of the inside so much, but this is Ray Doon, for example. She was using the product on her neck. It was actually 3 weeks later, so it was only 21 days, not even 28 days. She took this after photo thinking that she hadn't had very good results until she looked, and put the photos side by side, and she could really see a difference. Also, the redness and the irritation, particularly a lot of young people deal with this, which affects self-esteem and just, can be horrible. Not only the redness and the irritation has cleared up, but over time, the scarring that some people experience, huge results as well. This is Cindy Lou. She had some sores on her face that wouldn't go away, caused by some medication that she had to take. The only thing that's been able to fix that was the Renew 28. And then, of course, the effects of aging, the wrinkles, the crow's feet, all those kind of things that people experience. Look, I mentioned before that the redox signaling molecules diminish as we age. So this is a 93-year-old lady who's obviously had a surgery on her wrist, but at that age, they just hope that it heals, like at all. And the skin is kind of paper thin. In 3 weeks, look at this, you can barely even see where the incision is. The other thing they've discovered is that Renew 28 can even help with the effects of the appearance of cellulite. So huge difference there. I'll just quickly go through some other pictures. Instead of this sunburn peeling, it turned into more like a suntan. This gentleman, big difference in his neck. This is amazing. This is all in 28 days or less, guys. So this arm, the anti-aging effect is quite remarkable because it helps with the elasticity of the skin. Obviously, this gentleman with his hands and Guess she looks about 20 years younger in that photo. Big, big difference. Just real quickly, this is Rosie at age 84. Her son got her on the products. Her son was a chiropractor. After 7 weeks, she came in and said she wanted to cancel her orders, and her son asked her why she wanted to do that. And she said, well, it obviously isn't doing anything for me. Now, fortunately, they took a before photo, and I'm sure that you'll notice the difference. Rosie looks like, geez, she looks 20 years younger. Yeah, she's definitely turned back the hands of time in those pictures. Needless to say, Rosie's still on the product, and at 87, she's looking great. Thermography is also a great way that validates the product. You can see, this is thermal imaging where you can see the heat in the red and the orange areas. So if you look at this hand, for example, you can see the inflammation here simply by applying that gel 3 times in 5 minutes, approximately, makes a huge difference. So a lot of people suffer with back pain. This is a lumpectomy that this lady had on her breast. And again, applying that, lower back issues, knee challenges, just makes a difference with all of those things. Now, when we were going through the different reasons, we mentioned athletics as being one of them. And I'll tell you, athletes are having incredible results with this technology. In fact, Bria Larson, this lady is quite remarkable. She was actually using the products as a high school in athletes in the athletic department. She went on and became an Olympic gold medal swimmer. Cody Miller in the last Olympics won 2 medals, a gold and a bronze. And he's just recently set another record and his personal best. Eddie Hall is the strongest man in the world. The stories of athletes just are marvelous. Just so many that, and what we find, what they'll tell you is that it gives them more endurance, certainly better recovery, mental stamina, just gives them that competitive edge. And the best part, it's completely legal because these molecules are native at the bottom. There's no banned substance or anything like that. So they can absolutely use these and compete with not a problem whatsoever. So on that athletic note, in fact, here's a couple of athletes right here on the Sunshine Coast of Australia. This is Hemi and Kina, and they're actually from New Zealand. They're boxers, and they're in the seniors class division, 50 and older. And on the same night, they both took the world championship belts. And what we put them on ASEA, they were drinking kind of a double dose of ASEA, and they noticed that their recovery was amazing. In fact, they both won every single one of the 6 rounds. They could have kept going. They still had stamina and undisputed. They won that competition. So remarkable people. And then one last story I want to share with you. When in fact, in the beginning, I showed a picture of this gentleman here, Dan Doyle. He was there at the world headquarters. This is a picture of Dan Doyle when he was 24 years old. He owned a gym. You can see he's pretty fit, and I believe he won a 2nd place trophy in Australia for bodybuilding. At age 44, he was still pretty fit, but he noticed a lump on his side. He went and had it checked, and they said, look, this is pretty serious. They put him through 2.5 years of hell, doing treatments where he's lost all the hair on his body, as you can see. After doing 2.5 years of those treatments, they told him to go home and get his affairs in order. They couldn't do anything more for him, and basically just prepare to die, basically. I called Danny in October of 2014. Danny was one of the first people that I heard, one of the first people that I thought about, and I called Danny. I said, Danny, I was so excited. I said, Danny, I think I found something that can help you. I suggested that he come out to Salt Lake City. There was going to be an opportunity for him to meet the founders like I did and the physicist. And literally he noticed incredible results literally within, really straight away. In 3 days, he just couldn't believe the difference in his lung capacity. And it was just an amazing story. So this is a picture of Dan 1 year later. And you can see when he flew to Salt Lake, he doesn't look real healthy here. 1 year later, after going and getting a follow-up appointment, getting basically a clean bill of health. Nothing was wrong with his blood work and so forth. He's looking great, and Danny is still here today, despite what the doctors had told him that he shouldn't be. So remarkable, and it's a great opportunity to be able to share this with other people too. That's what Danny has gone on to do and save, help impact the lives of literally thousands and thousands of people. So look, that is one solution, and that's the redox signaling molecules. The second solution is nutrition. Now, I mentioned this before. Now, keep in mind, ASEA, these molecules are not a vitamin, they're not a mineral, they are the signaling molecule. They are literally the cell-to-cell communication. We still have to have the proper nutrition into the cell. So redox molecules restore the integrity of the cell so vital nutrition can get back into the cell. And so ASEA has come up with an incredible nutrition line also. So I want you to think of it this way. If you're going to build a house or some kind of a structure, and let's say you get your building lot there, let's say they pull up and drop all the timber and all the rocks and all the concrete and everything that you need to build your house. Well, you still have to have something to put it in place. You still have to build it. And that's what these molecules do. That's what they are, literally the builder. They're the labor, and we still need to have the material, which is the nutrition. So, so if we look at this, ASEA has come up with a phenomenal nutrition line. There's actually one more product on it, which isn't on this photo, which is Omega product. But these products are really second to none. They really provide the nutrition that gets into the cell. I'm not going to go into a lot of depth on the nutrition products. We can certainly get that information to you, but there's a product called Source. This is all whole food. There's no synthetic nutrition. It's all, you know, whole food micronutrients, and literally from the very, very best sources in the planet. Biome, this is actually 16 different strains of probiotics plus a prebiotic, which helps to fertilize or feed the probiotics so that you really have excellent gut health. Also the marshmallow root. And the Life Max, this is an amazing product. The Life Max actually has 16 distinctive phytonutrients, including astragalus and gotu kola. And these actually help to affect anti-aging as well, the anti-aging benefits. So these are all the building blocks, affect cellular, they help to regulate healthy cell division. They also help to assimilate the vitamins and the minerals from our diet. This is specifically the biome we're talking about in this one. They aid in the mental well-being. Life Max is incredible for mental health and mental well-being. Also, by the way, the biome is good for that too. Supports the immune system. All three of these would do that. Helps with the inflammatory response, metabolism, promotes longevity, cardiovascular health, cognitive function, and that would again be the Life Max product, and also supports antioxidant activity. So, and also helps to reduce stress levels. So these are just some of the benefits that you'll see from these products. Certainly a really smart thing to add this into your health routine, particularly if you're already taking any kind of supplements. I would highly recommend giving these a go and replace and see if you notice a difference. And definitely give it a 90-day evaluation as you're doing that. So this is just a picture of the gotu kola and the astragalus root, which is in that Life Max. This isn't with the redox molecules, by the way. This is just with a nutrition supplement. I've never seen a nutrition supplement do this, but you can see before and after. So you put that together with the molecules and working that out, it just really is cool stuff. So we like to set people up for success, and correct expectations are important. So I would never give someone a bottle of ASEA and say, here, give it a go, you know, try this, because you're literally going to be setting people up for failure if you do it that way. What you want to do is you want to make sure that people have a 90-day commitment, because what we find is after 90 days, 90 to probably more like 95% of people are going to notice results with the products. Now, people are funny though. People are funny because if, let's say for example, if yesterday you had a raging headache, you know about that yesterday, but today you feel good, you don't even think about, oh, I don't have a headache. It doesn't even enter your mind. So people often forget how they used to feel, and as they start feeling better, because we're supposed to feel good. So it's important to do an evaluation and actually benchmark, how you're sleeping, how your energy is. If you hurt somewhere on a scale of 1 to 10, what's that? Has it improved? Has it gone from an 8 to a 3 or 4? Because if you don't do that, you might say, oh, I still feel a little something that I'm not sure if it worked, but if you're benchmarking and you're measuring that, you'll definitely notice a difference over time. So as you share this with people, help them to do that. So financial health. I would like to talk about this one, and I'm very excited about talking about this one because um, I believe I mentioned earlier, there are two kinds of pain in this world. One is called physical pain, and the other one is called financial pain. And I think we've all been there, and truly it is painful. Um, I think we can all relate to this picture as well. There's so many things that create stress in our life. Um, being stuck at home, being quarantined and social distancing and not being able to go to work. I mean, there's a million things, particularly right now, that's causing stress and causing challenges for people. And even if we look statistically, this is before some of the more recent challenges, but you can see that there's the average, 1 in 9 Australians report extremely high levels of stress. The debt, Australia's third highest in the world for debt. Just in the last 4 years, there's been a 40% increase in antidepressants. So you can see it's a big problem. And a lot of that is brought on by financial stress. They say just an additional $500 in the average family household would prevent most divorces because money is the biggest stressor. So I like to, so the solution for things to change, sometimes you've got to change the way you think about things. You got to look at things. You got to look outside the box for other things too. Look, I love this photo, and well, it's not a photo. I love this image, I should say, because it truly is a good snapshot at people and at life. Maximum job security. Look, there is nothing wrong with having a job if you love what you do, and you're happy and you're making, and you're making a living. That is phenomenal. For a lot of people, job stands for just over broke. And sometimes they feel like their employer is paying them just enough to keep them there, and they can't really do that. So whether you love your job or not, it's not a bad idea to have a plan B and find a way to get out of the rat race. And so, as we're looking at this, so many people are on this treadmill going, I'm so busy, I can't look at anything else. And they're just focused, looking forward. They're concerned about what this will cost me. I guess my question is, what will it cost you not to have a good look at this? I am so grateful that I finally opened up my eyes and decided to take a look at ASEA. This one's good. Let me think about it. The best time to think about anything is when the decisions are in front of you, so you know what you have to think about. And literally taking the time to think about it instead of just mindlessly saying, oh, I'm going to think about it, and then you never really do. Because when you've got the people that can answer the questions for you, and you talk to the people when you can talk to this guy right here who's gotten out of the rat race, who's figured out how to escape and create some success and create some freedom in his life, that's the best thing to do, is to find this guy and find the way out. So I would like to present to you that ASEA truly can be an answer. Certainly has been an answer to our prayers and so many other people as well. I mean that sincerely, and I mean that literally. Look, before I could get involved with a company or a business, there are certain things that I had to know, and my guess is that they're the same things that you need to know too. I'm talking about 3 things: the integrity. Who is it that I would actually be partnering and be in business with? Because if it's not the right people, you can have the best product in the world. Quite frankly, I think we do. But if you don't have the right people behind it, then you absolutely have nothing. The second thing is the stability of the company. If you look statistically at how many businesses fail within their first 5 years, it is astounding. It's way over 95%. It's like 97, 98% of businesses fail within their first 5 years. And that includes network marketing companies as well. So for me, I wasn't even interested in looking at the company until it was at least 5 years old. So I give a lot of credence to and gratitude to the people who are the pioneers that stepped in when this was in the very, very early stages. And the third thing is timing, that we're going to talk about too, because you don't want to miss that window of opportunity when the timing is right. And companies do go through a certain growth curve, and you want to be at the forefront. You want to be in the right place. Speaking of timing, I'm going to share something with you right now. This gentleman right here, remember that meeting that I went to? Remember after Dr. Samuelson stood up, Vertus actually stood up and he said, if people really understood, genuinely understood what we have our hands on here, He said, we would be bigger than Apple Computer overnight. And I just, remarkable. In fact, this gentleman is, as he shared his personal story with this product, I could really see and feel his heart. In fact, he got choked up. And I'll just tell you very briefly what happened. Vertus was the vice president, going back before ASEA. He was the vice president of strategy for Kraft Food. He ran a $37 billion a year industry. He's one of the smartest business guys on the planet. He was asked numerous times to come back after he retired and run other divisions because he was very good at what he did. He is a genius when it comes to business strategy, and he does it in such a classy way, really promoting people and integrity and values first. He had taught his son Tyler Norton about these strategy skills as well. Tyler went on to be a Fortune 50 executive in the financial industry. Well, Vertus had finally retired at age 68, 69, and he was invited to be on the board of a biotech company that was struggling, that needed some help. This biotech company was called Medical Discoveries, Inc., and they were from the little town that I grew up in called Logan, Utah, believe it or not. As coincidence would have it. Well, because this biotech company, their business model, they were trying to get a pharmaceutical, they were trying to get a drug application. And you can't get a drug application unless you can prove, it's called LD50. LD stands for lethal dose, and 50 is 50% of the laboratory animals will die at some particular dose. In other words, you can't get this. I want you to listen to this. You can't get a drug application unless your product is toxic enough at some level that it will kill you. that just absolutely floors me. Anyway, after, what was it, 15 years and $16 million that this company had raised, they ran into this roadblock because ASEA had zero toxicity to it. Well, I'm going to cut to the chase of this story, but I want to tell you that you want to go to this ASEAGenesisVideo.com and you want to watch the story, the full story. What actually happened was Vertus ended up acquiring this technology. He brought on Dr. Gary Samuelson, the atomic medical physicist I mentioned before. They figured out how to stabilize these molecules to a point that it was a marketable product. They put a test group of 40 people on this product, 6 of whom were terminal, and they gave them free access to this product. That came back 2 months later to discover that this small group of 40 people were not only having life-changing benefits, but this group had expanded to 135 people in 20 different countries. And they knew that this product was something that people would really, people would talk about, and they would share it via word of mouth. Well, they met with a company called Bart Pharmaceutical, who's merged with another company at this point in time. But they flew in with their jets, with their executives, with their scientists. They looked at the research. They went and did some tests on the product. They came back and said, yep, you really have what you say you've got. This is what I had mentioned, that science had declared it was impossible to stabilize these molecules. And they said, we're going to make you an offer that's so big that you won't want to go anywhere else. But there's one condition. And Vertus said, well, what's that? And they said, well, you're going to have to shut it down. And he said, I don't even understand what you're talking about. He said, we have people that are dependent on this product. And he says, if you want to do business with us, you're going to basically turn over the 7 pallets of research, all the equipment, and you need to take those people off the product today and walk away. And it's because of this man's integrity right here, both of them really, but it's because of their integrity that we have the ability to share this people to people. So they said no to Big Pharma, and they said yes to the people, because Vertus decided on that day that this was going to be a legacy. This would be his legacy, and he was going to make sure that this was available to the general public and it would not get shelved, which was one of the big concerns. So that is what sold me. I knew that these were the kind of people that I wanted to associate myself with. I could tell that they were not going to just sell out, that this was going to be something that was going to be long-term good for not only me, but people that I shared this with as well. So let me just give you a little bit of a picture in terms of the stability of the company. Last year, they did over 100 million in revenue. Pretty rock solid. They own their own manufacturing facility, which is this one here on the bottom. They've got 18 distribution centers globally. In fact, I think that's 19 now, if I'm not mistaken. And this is their world headquarters in Pleasant Grove, just south of Salt Lake City. Beautiful mountains here. Robert Redford's ski resort, Sundance, is just on the other side of these. And my wife, Melissa, and I actually used to live pretty close to over there, a little town called Midway. So it's a beautiful spot. Anyway, sales are projected. We expect that ASEA will be $1 billion a year company in the next 5 to 7 years. So this goes to the third thing that I mentioned, which is really important. It's timing. You could not be in a better place in time right now. We are positioned for incredible growth, even with the financial challenges that are happening right now globally. Last month, ASEA just had their best month ever. So people are looking for financial security. They're looking for home-based businesses. They're looking for ways that they can make a difference, impact other people's lives. And the other thing, of course, is that people are looking for ways that they can significantly improve their health and their immune systems and so forth. So the business model is pretty straightforward. If you ask anybody that's been in business, what is the very best form of marketing? Everybody will tell you straight away, it's word of mouth. And that's pretty obvious. Well, this is the kind of product that is absolutely, without question, best marketed via word of mouth. It's through the stories and experiences. If you looked at a bottle of ASEA on the shelf and you read the ingredients, that it's made from salt and water, you say, it just wouldn't make any sense. It's, the story needs to be told, the experiences need to be shared, and that's how this works. So because this technology is so new, for the first 9 years, ASEA was laying the groundwork, laying the foundation, putting in the research that I talked about with the companies. And just in the and ASEA's volume has literally doubled in the past 2 years. So we are really just on this curve, kind of the hockey stick curve that they talk about in business. Could not be better. We're actually in 35 countries, 16 languages are supported. And get this, less than 0.01%, less than 1 in 1,000 people have even heard of redox signaling molecules. If you go and talk to people, they wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about. So this is a technology that we really need to spread the word. We need to get the news out. We've recently opened Singapore, Thailand, Taiwan, Philippines, Hong Kong, and Malaysia. The Asian market's a very, very exciting market that we're thrilled about being part of. And how it works is pretty simple, straightforward. So remember I told you when I first heard about this, there were people that, in fact, let me tell you, every single person that I know needed to know about this technology. As soon as I understood what this was, my brothers, my mother, my friends, my family, everybody needed to know about this technology. I could care less whether they decided to join me and build a business with this or not, but thank God some of them decided that they wanted to share the vision with me as well. So let's say, for example, one of the people I talked to was Dan Doyle, who introduced his friend Mal Sword. Danny knew other people that needed to share this with, and I started talking with people too, Sepp and Sean and Brent and some of my brothers and other family members and so forth, and they shared it with people, and so on and so forth as it goes and grows. So the point here is that ASEA literally, when you start something, everyone that hears about this through you is part of your team and part of your organization, part of your network, and ASEA will compensate you for that word of mouth advertisement. The cool thing is, so you can build distribution centers globally in Asia, America, Europe. It doesn't matter who you know, it matters who they know and who they know and who they know. And the best part about this is, in fact, if I go back, my previous life was working for the US Chamber of Commerce. I talked with thousands of business owners. I love this business model because basically ASEA does all the crap that I don't want to do, which is payroll and regulation and manufacturing and all that kind of stuff. We just simply get to talk with people, and ASEA compensates us for talking to people and making a difference that way. So it just couldn't be a better win-win for everybody. It makes it so easy to just go out and make a difference. So what now is the next question? Well, I guess the important thing is, where do you see yourself? Perhaps you just see yourself as a customer, and if that's where you see yourself, absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, a lot of people, that's where they want to start. For me, for Melissa and I, when we actually looked at this and saw the science, and really, we got it. We just decided that we didn't want to just build a part-time income. We wanted to build a legacy income. Success leaves clues, and we talked with other people who were leaders who had earned the money. We heard the stories, And we decided it was just a matter of scope and size. Did we want to help a few people or did we want to help a lot of people? And literally, if your goal is to make an extra $500 to $1,000 a month, you can absolutely do that. It's not hard to do. If your goal is to earn an extra $10,000 a month or even $10,000 a week or more, look, we've got associates that are doing that and more. So the cool thing is, for every dollar that you earn, it literally represents making a difference in the lives of other people. So it's kind of a fun way of keeping score. How to get started? I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but ASEA does offer some specials for getting started. In fact, right now, if you come in with a personal pack, they give you free postage when they send this to you, which I haven't reflected into these slides. There's a business pack. Obviously, just like anything else, if you purchase more, you're going to have some savings. So what we chose to do would come in with like what's called an entrepreneur pack. There's a few different ways that you can do combinations of this, but but this pack here, which is the largest pack, is what, $2,600, which is nothing to start a business. And what we wanted to do, we wanted to have a product to use for both my wife and I. We wanted to have some to demonstrate, some to sell, some to share with other people. So this is a good package. It comes with 25 sample tubes, gives you the Renew 28, and also some extra cases of ASEA. You start off with 150 loyalty points. That's a free case and a half of product. It starts off at 15% loyalty benefit. They throw in your distributor kit for free. It's just a smart way to go. But again, this is just one option, one suggestion. If you're serious, you want to get things going, it's a smarter way to get started, but whatever works for you. Your story, this is a chance to rewrite your story, to rewrite your script. We are you're the captain of your own ship, the master of your destiny. It's just a matter of what you decide that you want. I would like to just tell you that I am so grateful for the opportunities and the experiences, the things that we've been able to do, the travel, the places we've been able to travel, the friends that we've been able to associate with. It's just been remarkable, because when you build a business like this, look, there's some people that have all the time in the world, but they have no money. We see people living on the street, for example. They got lots of time, but they don't have any quality of life. We've got other people that have a really good income, but they don't have the ability to really, they don't have the time to enjoy it. You see that happen with doctors sometimes, or other professionals. This kind of a business, you're actually generating a residual income where you can actually take the time and enjoy some of the fruits of your labors. And it's important to have some dreams and some goals. Love to go to Bora Bora is one of the things. I've been fishing in Alaska. I'd love to go and do that again. A new home, or whatever your goals are, whatever your dreams are. I would truly encourage you to write them out, to think about it, because this is a chance you can think, you can dream big. They say the time to dig your well is before you're thirsty, before you need it. And right now is a lot of people are kind of seeing that. So this is a chance to really create that plan B right now. And I just want to share with you, I talked about this will in the beginning. Well, I just want to tell you that this is what the will looks like now. Career, I could not be happier. Financially, we're doing great, except for there's always room for improvement. Same with personal growth. Health's pretty good. Again, always room for a little improvement. And the little clicker's not working very good. But you can see that this wheel is going to roll a whole lot smoother, a whole lot more smooth than the first wheel that I presented. So if you can create, if you're looking for more balance in your life, maybe this is a vehicle that can help to give you more of what you're looking for. I'm just incredibly grateful to this gentleman here, Vertus Norton, and also to my amazing wife, Melissa, who has just done an amazing job supporting us and building this together. And just to wrap up, this is a quote from Vertus. He says, "We're at the start of something big with great purpose, and right now is the moment that we begin influencing the future. We can change the world." And proud to be associated and be able to call this gentleman a friend. So with that, I'd like to thank you for joining us this evening. Please get together with the person who invited you on this call, and certainly they can answer. We'll get your questions answered, and help you to get started. Our goal is not to impose any of our goals on you, but rather to help support you with whatever you would want. So thanks again, and I'll just stop this recording.